Morning E-Dirt, and we do finally get to report back. We've been building up for such a long time for the 2017 running of the Roof of Africa. So there's going to be a lot of tired bodies today. It's Monday morning, I'm tired, the coffee's out super early, and there's not much traffic on the road because it was Roof of Africa this weekend. It was 51.50 triathlon and it was 94.7. So the whole world is going to be super tired, and there's going to be a lot of sick phone calls going into work. But let's cover what happened with the Roof of Africa. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go up there, but I'm making plans. I'm not missing another roof, forget it, because there was so much action and so many stories coming out of the 2017 running of the event. The story before the event was the fact that there was around about, I predicted 10 guys that could potentially go ahead and win the event. Those 10 guys did go ahead and top 10 it as well. So those predictions were pretty much spot on, and the standard of riding was just absolutely off the charts. The feedback that we're getting though was the fact that it was a relatively easy roof, and I say that with all due respect, but the pros on days 1 and 2 were bagging like 6, maybe 6.5 hours in the saddle. That's pretty easy as far as roof riding goes, and the results and some of the comments from riders like Jarvis do bear fruit. Jarvis was saying the South African guys were too fast on the fast stuff. That means that there was a lot of lowlands and midlands riding, and the mountain passes weren't long and as long and gnarly as they have been in the past. That said, every roof has to have a winner, and this year's was Wade Young. So Wade, I said he really desperately needed this win. He's had an absolute nightmare of a year. Pretty good riding, but like I said, mechanicals, problems, just, you know, the wins just weren't there when they were in his grasp. So very, very cool to see the Shoko Pro get his win, and that's just putting him in an amazing position going forward into next season. As far as we know, he's going to be on the Shoko bikes again, so that's going to be fun for him. And of course, then the rest of the guys have to do the big chase down to see if they can actually beat him out. Second place, the story of the weekend was winning around the houses, super fast in time trial, a very close second place to Wade, and that was Travis Teasdale. Trav was also one of those riders that I wanted to see have a good result. He'd have really desperately wanted to win, but I think some problems with the foot peg on day number 1, the first day in the mountains, held him back somewhat, but not really. He was still right there with Wade the whole time. And cut a long story short, second place, and Travis Teasdale's best ever Roof of Africa. So well done, Double T. So that's Safa's running 1 and 2. Jarvis, third place. He lost time on not the time trial. Time trial was very, very close, inside of the top 4 guys, in fact top 5 guys. But the passes just weren't long and gnarly enough for Jarvis to do his magic. So previous multiple winner, Jarvis, who was going for his number 4, didn't get to do it. So kind of thwarted like Birch was when he was trying to go for his big numbers to get himself into the history books. Jarvis is going to have to come back and play once again, but time is going to be against Jarvis. We've been speaking about it for quite a while now. Is Jarvis going to be in the lineup for next year for the Factory Husqvarna? Yes, he is. Yeah, he's got his ink. But how much longer is he going to be able to bring the cheese? So that was 1, 2, and 3. Wade, your champion once again of Roof of Africa. Congratulations for the Shoko rider. Double T, Travis Teasdale, all kinds of rumors talking about what's going to be happening with him for next year as far as rides go. And I'm going to try and chat to my buddy in the off season and see if we can bring you guys some of the silly season news. But hopefully he gets some ink, because he's definitely one of those world-class riders that needs to make the next move and go full-time overseas like Wade has done. As long as he can get back and ride SA soil every now and again and represent, and to keep his roots in South Africa, that's going to be a good scene for him. Jarvis, third place, yeah, good, but Jarvis is a winner, and third place will feel like a big loss for him. The guys that were running outside of the top 3, and this was so much talent. Fourth place went to Blake Goodsight, but I can't even tell you how close he was to beating out on Jarvis. We were in a very strong position this year to try and get a South African lockdown of the podium. In other words, South Africans running 1, 2, and 3, and Blake very, very, very narrowly missed out on that one. But his best ever roof, a 4th place finish for the proudly Bidvest Yamaha man and our current reigning junior Super Enduro world champion. Outside of that, last year's shining light, Alfredo Gomez. I kind of had an outside bet on him for a win this time around, I must say, and I was a little bit let down. And I think I was let down because of the same story with Jarvis. The mountain passes weren't as long, weren't as gnarly, conditions weren't as rough. So unfortunately, outside of the top 4 for our second place finisher from last year, that was our Red Bull factory KTM rider, Gomez. The rest of the factory boys that came from overseas, and I think this is something that probably the international press will grab hold of as well, and that was Letty, that's Andres Lettenbichler, the original Letty, and Manuel, that's father and son. And as far as I know, the first time ever a father and son pairing have done a top 10 finish. So both of them making it inside the top 10. That's very, very, very nice riding. So very rock solid. Other shining lights as well, and it's we have to mention the fact that there were some big stories as far as the results go for the 2017 tour. Fred Fensham and Ria Niveling have been kind of like putting together this little marketing plan that see who was the fastest women. And that was, it's always been Kirsten Landman. She's made her name as the best woman from South Africa, but the best woman worldwide for extreme enduro. She took a bit of a beating this time around to the KTM woman. Sandra Gomez came out, entered into gold, top 30. So confirmation that the Husqvarna woman who was over here racing for the Peps and Plastics factory Husqvarna squad with Kirsten Landman on the Brother Leader Tread factory KTM on her free ride. She tends to ride the free ride for the extreme events. But Gomez on the 250, I think it was FE. Husqvarna top 30 for a woman is absolutely stellar. Yeah, she's the sister of Alfredo Gomez, so that's going to help, but it's her trial skills, but definitely her lowland skills as well. And we saw that when she raced at the Lesotho doubleheader nationals as part of her roof preparation. So that's a really big story, and that's going to be a hard act to follow for any of the women, for Kirsten to beat, or any of the other new girls that are going to come through the sport to try and get themselves into a top 30 finish for gold. So well done Sandra, well done Husqvarna for that one. On Husqvarna as well, it's always cool to see the new kids coming through. There's a lot of high schoolers and new blood coming into the mix. Matty Green, well done to little Matty Green. He really has been a standout rider. He's your current reigning high school national enduro champion, and at his first time of asking, gold, top 20. Well done little Greenie, that's a real solid ride. On the silver side of things, nice to see a repeat champion as well. Heinrich Zellhuber, one of the kids that runs under the Alfie Cox colors. Very stylish ride, and with Bradley Cox on his wheel in the number 2 spot, that's going to help little Bradley Cox as well. He needed some confidence going forward into next season, where he's going to be full on focused on enduro. So that's nice. You know, he's not going to be doing as much motocross as he was doing in the past. He's decided to sharpen his blade, get fully focused on enduro and extreme enduro, and that's just going to be an absolutely stellar lineup going forward. Obviously he's still going to be running under the Red Bull and Alfie Cox KTM colors. But that's Roof this year. The conditions at Roof were a bit strange this year, I've got to say. For a small moment I didn't regret going up there, and that was when I turned on social media and saw all the snow on the morning of Around the Houses and time trial. That didn't last long though, so it really didn't hold anyone back. The results weren't really affected by it, and by all accounts it sounds like the management crew up at Roof were able to do some moving and shaking. They moved the bronze qualifier to a little bit later, bronze time trial to a little bit later on in the afternoon, allowed the conditions to warm up. But yeah, I mean, some of the old school guys were getting loud on social media saying, yeah, it's been a while since the snow came out at Lesotho and this is going to be a tough roof. And I'm sure all the riders and crews were sweating it, wondering if they had enough double greens, as we like to say, enough grip to try and climb those wet rocks, because, oh man, rocks in Lesotho, even on a dry day, there's just no grip. But good reactions. The weather kind of sorted itself out. The passes must have taken a little bit of a beating, but by all accounts the management got away with it. So good roof this year. From the reactions of the riders, I don't think there's any such thing as an easy roof, but it was definitely easier than the previous years. Less report backs from buddies of mine who rode in the silver and the bronze. Much less bottlenecks. There was much more flow to the event, so it sounds like the reactions have been taken by the management crew for Roof, but potentially maybe just made it a little bit too easy for the pros, and they're going to have to look and see how they want to position Roof of Africa going forward, because if a rider like Gomez and Jarvis are saying that they were beaten in the fast sections, then perhaps the identity of the roof may have changed slightly. In other words, the mountain passes aren't absolute backbreakers like they used to be. But then again, it's nice to cater for the sport where you're trying to help out gold and bronze and silver and everyone. But nonetheless, good to see a champion, good to see Wade back on top. And he now joins that elite group of riders with multiple roof wins. And he's going to start climbing the ladder and going after some more history. But that rounds out Roof. Sorry, I've been waffling on a little bit, but very, very cool. A bit rough to not be up there. I've had to do a lot of spying and social media trawling to get all of my results, but thankfully social media works. It's boss. I love it. Everyone's up there. I've got tons of spies out there, so it worked out nicely for me here at Hollywood Hills. But I'm not letting that happen again. I'm definitely going up to Roof for next year. Do watch out on television, by the way. Of course, I work with the guys at Kings of Dirt, old Mully and Reinhardt. They were up there freezing their bits off, doing all the coverage, and that's going to be fun to see. I think we're going into studio this week to start the edits, and then next week we'll do the voicing. So watch out for Super Sport. It'll be broken down into 2 shows, and that'll be Round the Houses, Time Trial, and day number 1, and show number 2 will be day number 2, the final day. So do watch out for that, and that will all be out before we go into the Christmas close down, the Christmas break. All right, I'm going to wrap up with that. Next week, I'm going to go up and see the guys at KTM Raceworks out on the West Rand. I spoke to them around about maybe 15 episodes ago now, just towards the end of winter. I remember freezing out there with little Francois Dutoy, and he was showing me the plot of land, and a big development was in the offing. We'll go and revisit that now. They have broken ground, so it's going to be fun to see how plans are going for what is going to be one of the biggest motorcycle and lifestyle stores out in Joburg. So that's coming up next week, as well as a review of a couple of the little farm events that are coming up to end out our season. Because remember, yeah, Roof is done, but there's still a couple of events still to come up, as well as prize giving season. So yours truly is going to go for a shave, get his tux ready, because GXCC prize giving first on the list coming up this weekend. So it's going to be fun to see everyone out there in their number 1s. But for now, we'll sign off. Remember, keep supporting our supporters. Vans Racing Husqvarna. The guys have still got all of their 2018 specials running, as well as the guys at EMD, QCon, and Basefit. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we look forward to working with you going forward into 2018. But for now, we will sign off with Roof and say, Wade Young, Roof champion, factory Red Bull Sherco rider. Cheers.